Let me ask you a question. Have you ever cooked rice that sucks? It turns into a sticky, gloopy, overcooked, watery mess, and you're sorely disappointed, you get annoyed, so you go down the takeaway. If the answer is yes, this video's for you. And you're only going to need 3 things. Pan, a glass or mug, and of course your rice. Also a bit of salt as well. And you certainly don't need one of these. Put the sieve away. We don't need to be sieving no rice. But it has to be said, not all rices are equal. I'm going to use Basmati rice because, well, it's a nice universal rice. You know, you can use it for anything. Have it plain because it's got a nice taste. But I use it for like egg fried rice. I'll add some spices and aromatics to it to make like a Indian style flavoured rice. But it's a nice, easy rice to cook. Great flavour, easy to cook, and it's still pretty cheap. It's like one of the most accessible, cheapest carbohydrates you can still get. But there is nothing worse than overcooked, stodgy, sticky, horrible rice. You might as well not have it. It's disappointing, makes you sad, sad face like this. But this method works 100% of the time. Trust me, I'm a cook. First thing you're going to need is a glass or a mug. This is what you're going to use to measure out your rice. Now, this is just like an ordinary sort of small tumbler that you would use for like scotch, or if you're teetotal, a bit of squash. But a glass like this sort of size, is going to be plenty for 2 hungry people. Quite often I see people cook rice and they make way too much, and you've got like far too much left over. Because remember, it expands. So a glass like this is going to be enough for 2 people. So just take your rice and pour it into said glass or mug, whatever vessel you're using, and fill it right to the top. Then take your pan, pop your rice in. Once you've got your rice in your pan, next we need to wash it. Right, this is a really important step. Don't skip it. Trust me. So take your pan over to the sink and fill it up with cold water. You see all that cloudy, sort of murky water? That's the starch. And we want to remove that, well, as much as possible. You're never going to get it like completely clear, but we need to remove most of that starchy water. If you don't, you're going to have stodgy, horrible rice. So get your hand in there and give it a good old wash. Okay, just move it around gently and then tip it out. But just be careful, obviously, not to tip the rice out with it, but it should settle on the bottom, look. Okay, gently just tip it out, get rid of that water, and then do the same thing again. And repeat that 4 times. Might seem like a bit excessive, but trust me. But again, don't obsess over it. You're never going to get it completely clear. We're just going to remove some of that excess starch, and you're just going to have a much better rice at the end of it. So I've washed this rice 5 times now, and you can see how much clearer that water is. Still a little bit murky, but listen, like I said earlier, don't obsess over it. You're never going to get it crystal clear. Okay, you sort of want it looking like that, slightly opaque, but we've removed most of that starch. Starch is your enemy for rice. And I'm just going to tip out that last bit of water. Obviously don't tip out the rice. You can use a sieve for this bit if you want to get all of the water out, but just kind of gently tip it out into the sink. Next thing, take the same glass or mug that you used to measure the rice and fill it up with water. So all the way to the top, same as the rice, straight into your pan, and then half again. So 1 cup of rice to 1.5 measures of water. Next we're going to take the pan over to the hob, pop it on the back there. Going to add a pinch of salt to the water and turn your knob to its highest setting, which is number 6 for me. Looks like the thighs of Mount Doom underneath there, doesn't it? You want to get this to a rolling boil with a lid off to start with. So get that to a boil. And as soon as it's boiling like that, get a lid on it and then turn it right down to a gentle simmer, which is number 2 on my hob. And then get your phone or a timer and set a timer for 7 minutes. Hey Google. Hey Google. Hey Google. Set timer for 7 minutes. You useless f***. And then leave the pan simmering for 7 minutes. Don't stir it, don't move it, don't take the bloody lid off, don't even look at it. Just leave it for 7 minutes. Don't touch. And after that 7 minutes, you're going to turn the heat off. Shut it off.
Shut it off!
Shut up! Shut it. Now at this stage, you might be tempted to have a look and take that lid off. Don't. Right, we've cut the heat and we're going to leave that for a further 5 minutes. So again, hey Google, set timer for 5 minutes, you bastard.
Sure, 5 minutes, starting now.
Cheers, love. Don't even think about touching that lid. So it's been 5 minutes. Got a little stand here, which I'm going to put the pan up. What's that on there? think it's just like some fat from some cooking. So put that there. And here is the big reveal. Oh. Come and have a look, get a bit closer. And you see all these little holes, these little divots? That's a good sign. It means all the moisture's been absorbed, because as the water has evaporated, it's sort of sent up jets of steam, have come up through the rice, which has made those little holes. That's a good sign. But take a spoon, or actually a plastic fork would be better, but I haven't got one of those. And then just fluff up your rice. And there's your beautiful, fluffy rice that you can have with your dinner. That's going to be gorgeous, wonderful, tasty rice. And there you have perfect fluffy rice. It's not overly wet, it's not soggy, it's not a great big ball of clumpy goo. It's light, it's fluffy, and it is delicious. Serve that with your chili con carne, your curry. Heck, I'm going to cool this down and make egg fried rice later. And by learning how to cook rice properly, you're going to avoid having to use these things here, which are okay in a pinch. You know, I have some in the cupboard for emergencies, but there's a funny taste to it. It's got like a weird taint to these packet rices. I can't put my finger on it. It almost tastes like factory. Learn how to cook rice properly with this video. You're not going to have to use these bloody things. So there we are. You saw how easy that was. So if you're a rice novice and you've f***ed up your rice as much as I have in the past, do it this way. It's going to come out perfect every single time. So a slightly different video to what I usually do. It's not exactly a recipe as such, but it's a skill. It's a kitchen skill. It's going to save you from cooking shitty, horrible, stodgy, wet rice, which means it's not going to end up in the bin, which is going to save you money, and also means you can have nice rice to have with your dinner. Because there's two things in life: overcooked rice and overcooked pasta. Sends me batshit crazy, it does. I hate it. But listen, I'm going to love and leave you. Thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, share it to your friends and family. And if you know anyone that's crap at making rice, send them this video and they'll know how to make it. And I'll see your beautiful faces next time. And bye for now. What the frickin' hell am I going to do with all this rice? Eat it, I guess.
And you grind that they afraid of that. You're so bright, you're so tight, and they be hating that. The top's so far from the bottom to be exact, but the bottom get you ready to fight for the top black. I'm just trying to let the lights consume me. I'm just trying to let the vibe for the night.